Welcome once again to Saint Luminus. I appreciate you being here today. We are going to talk about the 4 reasons why a metronome is actually awesome. In a previous video, I talked about the 4 reasons why a metronome sucks, and I still stand by them. However, this video I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to say why they are terrific and why, more than likely, you do need a metronome if you haven't already. And hopefully you'll even pick up some tips on how to properly use a metronome, because yes, there are better ways to use a metronome, and I wish more guitar teachers would teach their students on more useful and productive ways of using a metronome. And maybe I'll do a video on that. I don't know. But let's talk about why metronomes can be awesome. Number 1, and this number 1, I learned when I was first started playing guitar, because I picked up guitar because I wanted to play like Dave Mustaine and James Hetfield and Kirk Hammett, etc., etc. I wanted to play thrash metal, which, as you know, is very fast music. And I don't think I really realized just how terrible I was, because I was just going to play fast. That's all I want to do, is just fucking play fast. Play the songs and play fucking fast. And a metronome, what it's going to do is it's going to force you to slow down. And that seems counterintuitive, right? Because you want to play really fast, but a metronome is doing the opposite, slowing you down. But what it does do is force you to slow down. This is a good thing, because it's going to force you to figure out why you're sucking so bad when you play fast. And I think it does something else too. When the metronome, when you play at a slow tempo and it slows you down, it also, I think, is going to tend to calm you down, because the feeling of fast is a very aggressive nature, especially with heavy metal or anything fast. And just me talking about it, you can see my shoulders are tensing up. I'm thinking of real fast, and maybe you're thinking of some fast, thrashy punk music, and you're just getting tense thinking about it, right? And all this tension in our body is horrible for guitar playing, because it locks us up. It locks us up our fingers, because we're so excited about this kind of just high, fast music. And it's terrible for guitar playing. So we've got to learn to relax. And the metronome playing really slow, hopefully will calm us down a little bit and say, all right, let me take 1,000 steps back and start from a very slow pace to get it right. That way, when I do play at a faster speed, it's a little more musical, and I can build up very gently to that speed, which is really important. So, and hopefully by the time you get to that speed, say playing 16th notes at 160 beats per minute, that you'll be very relaxed. And this is important. I got to give Steve Vai credit on this, because I was reading an interview, or I was watching a video where he talked about that part of his process, playing things fast, was learning to take a breath and go, to let the body relax, and now in a relaxed state have that ability to play something something fast. So a metronome can help you slow down. In other words, take a lot of steps back so you can take many steps forward. This is useful. Number 2 is a metronome will help your timing if your timing really sucks. This is going to get into the third reason why metronomes are terrific. But our timing, especially when we're beginning musicians and we don't have music in the household. For example, we don't have parents who were musicians and always playing music, or maybe even something as simple as a child, you didn't get bounced to the beats. You didn't play these nursery rhyme games with your parents when you were a young child, so you never really developed some sort of internal rhythm, and that's okay. I mean, some people are lucky enough to get that when they're very young children. You don't remember, but parents bouncing and doing rhythmic games and whatnot, just as part of raising babies and toddlers. Some of us don't get that, and so our internal rhythm is something we have to develop and learn. And a metronome is great at starting to develop this internal rhythm. Of course, you need a good teacher to kind of lead you along the way and show you how to use the metronome properly to do it. But once you start doing this, it is a pretty amazing thing. And I'll give you one little piece of advice and a tip on that. One way that I just started to develop internal rhythm and really functified and cool rhythms is by learning how to read rhythms. And this is in music school. And what my reading teacher did is he gave us drum music, like drum sheet music, because drums technically don't have a pitch, but they do have different parts. Like this is the snare, this is the bass, this is the tom, this is the hi-hat. But ultimately, it's more like a snare kind of exercises, and it has all these different rhythms. And he had us read it to cut out all the crap of different pitches and just concentrate on the rhythm. And I played this stuff to death with a metronome, speeding it up, starting slow, trying to get this rhythm down, speeding it up. And it really amazed me after some time of doing this, that just one day I remember just picking up my guitar and I had all this funky rhythm inside me that just wasn't there anymore. And I know it had a lot to do with sitting with the metronome and playing these different rhythms I was reading, that suddenly it just became a part of me. And again, that's something you could try. I highly recommend it. And this, I think it would help a lot of people. But again, you have to have a teacher properly show you how to do this so you know that you're actually doing it correctly. Here's number 3. It's kind of related to that previous one. A metronome is great at helping you internalize the beat. Interestingly enough, as a guitar teacher, I found that a lot of new students didn't realize that music has a beat, that all songs, for the most part, there's very rare exceptions of music that doesn't have a beat, but I'm not talking about some CalArts student senior project or master's project for their music program, because you got to be avant-garde and not have a beat. But most of the music that we like and listen to has a beat. And it was fascinating because a lot of them didn't know there was a beat. And some of these students, they didn't know it was a beat, but I asked them to tap their foot or tap on their leg to the beat of songs. I'd play them songs. And it's interesting, it's sort of like half of them could do it and the other half couldn't. And I had to teach them how to do this. I had to teach them not only that there's a beat, but also teach them how to tap that beat. So what they were listening to, they could say, oh, okay, I kind of understand what's going on. A metronome is good because it cuts out all this crap. It cuts out fancy rhythms and distorted guitars, big drums and singing. It cuts all that stuff and just sticks with the beat, so you can it will help you internalize that beat, especially if you didn't know that and you're kind of new to this. That metronome, I think, is terrific at helping you internalize beats, because when you do start playing with other people and the drummer counts off, that's your metronome. In case you didn't know that, the drummer counts off and it sticks. 1, 2, 3, 4, provided the song is in 4/4. They're counting to 4. It was amazing. The guitar students, their eyes would open up because they've always heard that clicking, but they don't understand. And their eyes would open and say, wow, is that what's going on? That's kind of like that's the metronome basically, and that's what the drummer is internalizing. You got to follow along. So a metronome is great at internalizing and keeping that beat within you. So again, notice how I'm presenting this. It's in a way that I think guitar teachers and music teachers in general should present this more than making a metronome this chore, this boring, god-awful, dull chore. Talking about the importance and how it applies to the music you like, the rock music or even the classical, because in this case, it's the conductor. Even though you don't hear it, you can see the conductor. There's the tempo. You're going to follow along to this. So metronomes are great at helping internalize the state beat. Oh, and one thing, just a little anecdote. In my years of teaching, I think there were 2 people. One I remember specifically, it was a teenager, it was like 14, 15 years old, could not internalize a beat. It didn't matter whether I played a drum beat, whether I played a song, whether I played just the metronome. I even tapped him on the shoulder. You know, I had to ask him, is it okay if I tap you on the shoulder so you could feel it? And I was tapping him on the shoulder to a song playing and go, this is how it feels. Because I think it was important for him to feel this not just hear it, but also feel it. And for the life of me, I could not get the guy. I only had him for a month, but for the life of me, this guy, this kid really just could not feel the beat. That concept was, I don't know if he'll ever get it or if he ever did. Hopefully he did. But it's interesting. Some people, a small minority of people, not only do they not realize that music has a steady beat, they can't actually feel the steady beat or tap it. And it's like pulling teeth, and you just wonder if they'll go through life never feeling the beat of music. Very interesting. Number 4, metronomes are great for solving very, very specific problems. And again, this takes a good guitar teacher showing you how to use the metronome to solve very specific problems. For example, I'm playing, I'm trying to learn and work up the guitar solo for a Tornado of Souls. And the thing is, with this song, this is Marty Friedman playing, and Marty has just a fantastic feel for dividing up the rhythm and doing weird stuff in the rhythm. And it's really hard to do at tempo. And also, when I'm trying to learn it, I'm trying to not only learn the notes, I'm trying to learn the groove of what he's doing, 16ths or something in between, or what's going on in there. Because he does a little bit of floating, and that's part of the charm. So he's not so rigid, not straight 16ths or anything like that, or straight triplets for long, long, long periods of time. So the only way so I need to solve that problem of how he's playing along to that beat, and I have to slow things way down, and I also have to get rid of the crap, which is the band. So I can use backing tracks, but I need to get rid of all that stuff to concentrate and solve this problem, because the other problem is the fingering. I need to solve this fingering problem because the way he does it, I may have to do it a little differently because I'm playing it on a Strat and he played it on a Jackson. A metronome can slow everything down so I can concentrate solely on this problem of the proper fingering and the proper way to hold my wrist and my shoulder. There's a whole world to this to get this thing to flow smoothly. And to be honest with you, a metronome is the most convenient and solid way to do this, to check yourself, to make sure that you are doing things correctly at this slow speed. You can say, yes, I've got that. And as you speed it up a little bit, you can still double check that you're doing the correct things. But again, this needs a good teacher to show you the proper practice technique of how to use a metronome to solve very specific problems and very detailed problems, because sometimes the solution to your problem is just 1/16th note. It's just the way you finger it, or just your timing, or you are picking that if you slow it down, you'll find out like, oh, crap. That's an upstroke when I should be doing it. No wonder I'm screwing this thing up. And so sometimes you have to take a step back and fix little things like that. And metronomes do a good job because it cuts out all the crap, just you and that metronome. And sometimes that is a good thing. You just got to really know what you're doing. All right, my friends, let me hear from you. What do you think? What makes metronomes so good and useful? And have your teachers, if you take lessons, did they have you use a metronome? Did they teach you how to use a metronome? And when I say the metronome, I'm talking about very simple metronomes, just the ones go click, click, click. I'm not talking about a drum machine. That has its use too, but I'm talking about the drum machine. I'm talking about just a regular old metronome, not one that is fancy you can program to play in 5/8 and all this stuff. I'm just talking about good old-fashioned click, click, click. That's what we're talking about today. Let me know your thoughts on using the metronome. Do you think they're terrific? Have they helped you a lot? I can tell you it's helped me, and I use it every single day. But I use it for very specific reasons, always cognizant that when it comes to playing with others or playing grooves, that we kind of shift and play around with rhythm and groove all the time. That's part of being a musician. So I have a very specific use for metronomes that I use every day, but I make no mistake about acknowledging that I'm also not trying to be a robot. So hopefully you're doing the same. Thanks for joining me today, you guys. I really appreciate it. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't, and tap that notification bell so you can be notified the next time I put out a video. Thanks for joining me today. I'll see you soon.